Hello guys, and welcome back to part 3 of the 2200 TC saga. You guys have been giving the video huge attention. The first video did 75,000 views, or over 75,000 views, which is absolutely insane. And then part 2 came out and revealed just how bad this car really was. And that still did well, it got 25,000 views. But a lot of people weren't very happy about my decision to break the car. Yes, so quite a lot of people were unhappy about this, and now I'm going to address this issue. It's a big discussion and a big argument. Is it okay to break a classic car for spare parts? Now, one comment stood out to me. He said it in a very abusive fashion, so the video's not out anymore, or the comment's not out anymore, but this is basically what he said. He said, aha, I got you. He said, in your video, you said it would cost 15,000 to restore that car, but Kismet's going to cost you 15,000. So why aren't you spending a further 15,000 on this car? You're a hypocrite. You're breaking cars that people would restore. It's a valid point, but I'm going to completely debunk it in about 30 seconds. So, point number 1, spending the money. Now, as a lot of you are well aware, P6s, especially 4-cylinders, are very undervalued. I sold that Immaculate Series 1 I had for £6,000, and the car was absolutely perfect. So, it begs the question, how many people out there are actually willing to spend serious money? Now, to do a car like this, it would cost you £10,000 to £15,000. I mean, every single piece of this car is red rotten. And again, if I had no emotional attachment to Kismet, or didn't care about the car, I wouldn't bother. Kismet was a breaker when I bought it. It was going to be banger raced. And you know, I know it's ironic because it's sitting here in a dilapidated state, but it would have been crushed like 5 years ago if I didn't buy it. It would have gone around the banger track and been squashed. And you know, that's the reason I bought this car, to save that car. Spares cars are incredibly important, and people don't realise that. Loads of people sit behind their computers going, oh, you should restore that, why aren't you spending the money? Well, this is the thing, right? One, I do not have infinite disposable income to spend tens of thousands of pounds on a car like this. 2, P6s as a commodity are not rare. Now, I know this one's quite special because it's a really late reg, it's a 77, there aren't too many of them, it's a 2.2 TC, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to break this argument down into 2 categories. We're going to go the financial side, and then we're going to go the enthusiast side, as in what someone could do it, so a what-if scenario. So first we're going to go financial. People seem to think that I rake it in when doing these cars. People say, oh, you don't care about these cars, you just do it for money, you just do it for money. If I didn't care about the cars in the first place, I wouldn't bother. Very few people are going all over the country, travelling hundreds of miles to pull these cars out of gardens, sheds, bloody barns, you name it. There's very few people doing it. I've had 45 of them in 5 years. 45 of these. And 30 odd have been restored. Now, people give the argument, oh, you're not saving them yourself, you're not restoring them. That's not the point. It doesn't matter if I'm not restoring them myself. I pass them on to people who do restore them. And as for raking it in, I wish. Do you really think if I had loads of money, I wouldn't have bought a workshop by now? Or bought my own space, or bought some land and built a barn to keep these cars in? It's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. These people have no concept of anything. And I really don't care what you think, because you're completely and utterly wrong. I mean, you know, in a car like this, there's very little money to be made. And I didn't buy this car to make money. I bought this car for spare parts, to save Kismet, because I refuse to pay hundreds, if not thousands of pounds for loads of odds and ends that I don't have. It's just economically more viable to buy a car like this. For spares. Now, we're going to talk about economics now. Now, the argument I always get is, you're taking cars off the road that people could restore. Could. But will they? Most people, 90% of people looking for a P6 are not going to, as a restoration project, they're not willing to spend 15, maybe even 20 grand on restoring a car that's going to be worth 6 grand. Because a lot of people don't have infinite money. So they think, well, if I ever had to sell it, I wouldn't get any money back. I'd lose tens of thousands of pounds, so they don't bother. They're not rare as a commodity, so they'll just go out and find a better one. That's what I do. You know, it's very simple. Now, you do get minorities, like, for example, a guy called Gareth on my Rover P6 group on Facebook, P6 Preservation. That car is a mess. And as you can see, it was held together with bloody builders' signs, road signs. He's restoring it, and fair play to him. Again, fair play to him. Takes loads of skill to do that. Lots of money, years of skills, and lots of time. And a lot of my customers aren't restoring these themselves. They're paying people to do it. So again, even more money. Now, let's say hypothetically, someone decided to spend insane money on this car. Let's say they decided to spend £15,000 on this car to get it restored. Great. That's absolutely fine. However, this car is gone in so many places that are critically important, like the crossmember, like the bulkhead. And there's very few people who can do a P6 bulkhead. Colin Gould, I think, charges around 10,000 quid to do a P6 bulkhead, because you've got to jig the entire front end of the car. It's because when you take that bulkhead out, you lose structural rigidity of the shell and it just becomes floppy. So you have to jig it in a very specific way. And I'm sure there's lots of fabricators who can do it. But it would not be cheap to get that job done. Again, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. And most people are not willing to spend that. Now, the thing is, though, the fact that they're not rare isn't the point. I mean, it is a point, but that's not the reason why, you know, I decided not to restore this car or do anything with it other than spare parts. It's so badly gone. That is why. And people seem to think, for some reason, that I break dozens and dozens and dozens of cars and take them all off the road and they all get squashed. That's not true. One guy on Facebook who wouldn't stop going on about it was saying, oh, where'd you get the parts? You can't have saved that many cars. I bet you broke most of them. I bought out 2 major P6 part collectors. They'd had the stuff for years. That's how I got all my stuff. I don't know. I feel it's kind of sad I have to make a video like this, because people are just so unnecessary and so pathetic. And granted, they're a very small percentage, but it's a video I wanted to make for a long time. But what it boils down to is 2 factors. 1, emotional attachment. If I had no emotional attachment to Kismet, right there, that would have been squashed. If I had no emotional attachment to it at all, and I didn't know anything about it, I didn't know that she has a low mileage engine, blah 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 blah, I wouldn't have bothered. I would have gone, right, spares car, stripped it, etc. I know it sounds brutal, but at the end of the day, the parts supplies for these cars do not exist. Spares cars are immensely important, because otherwise, where are the parts going to come from? There's no new wings being made, there's no new bonnets, new grills, new bumpers. Oh, they are making stainless steel bumpers, but you can get the point I'm making. The stuff doesn't exist. It's a limited supply. That's why donor cars are very important. Now, I'm still going to get loads of comments saying, oh, you know, you're a hypocrite, blah, 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 and that's fine. But I feel like I've explained myself, even though I don't need to, about this sort of argument, because at the end of the day, a lot of cars are too far gone to economically restore. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's my money, I can buy whatever I want. Not that I would, but I could buy 10 immaculate P6s and take them to a banger track. I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. I'm just saying, as an example. And at the end of the day, if someone, you know, I get offered these cars constantly, incessantly, you know, weekly. Do you want this car? Do you want this car? Do you want this car? And 9 times out of 10, I turn them down because, you know, there's not enough spares on them, or they're too much money, or blah blah blah. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Whoever buys the car can do whatever they like with it. Let's say, for example, that Series 1 I sold, the immaculate blue one, 68 2000 TC. If that guy wanted to banger race it, he could. It's his car, he can do whatever he likes. And that's another thing that really annoys me. People saying, oh, well, oh, that guy shouldn't have a collection of cars. He's never going to do anything with them. It's like the SD1 video I filmed, that I'm going to reshoot, by the way. I'm going to go back there. If that guy didn't buy those cars 20 years ago, they wouldn't exist. They would have been squashed long ago. Yes, it's sad they're rotting away in a bloody garden, but they still exist. Even if he never does anything with them, they still exist. You know, when he dies, the family will more than likely sell them on, and then there'll be a good source of parts, or maybe some of them will be restored. People are so narrow-minded, they don't see the bigger picture. They really don't. Let me show you some of the examples of some of the bodgery on this car that you've already seen. You won't have seen this bit because the wing wasn't off in the video. But again, things like this. This is not strong metal, okay? This is really not strong by any stretch of the imagination. This is all frilled and bubbled. That is not strong at all. All this arch is totally knackered. And this stuff is all repairable. But things like the bulkhead and the front cross member needs serious restoration work. But one thing I want to say is that I don't strip good cars. I've never ever stripped a good car. I mean, the one that went to the scrapyard that was on Facebook, the green one, was saying, oh, that guy on Facebook was saying, oh, well, what's your definition of bad? I bet it was restorable. The thing had no flaws. No transmission tunnel, no arches, no inner wings, nothing. And the stuff doesn't exist. You have to get another P6 and cut the flaws out of that to put into that one because they're a special shape. All you need years of panel beating experience. People are idiots, honestly. You know, it's unbelievable. But no, I hope that was an enjoyable little video. I just wanted to clarify a few things, but yeah, people are very silly and narrow-minded, and they really don't understand how a lot of things work. It's rather sad. I mean, again, for those who haven't seen the last video, that is just totally gone. That's the floor. You can see the carpet through there. This car has had patches welded over everything. By the time you take all those plates off, there's nothing left underneath. There really isn't anything left to speak of. But there we are. Anyway guys, I hope you found that video informative. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I think we'll hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for the support, and yeah, I shall see you later. Bye bye.